Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Anna, and today we're going to be doing a little makeup look featuring a dusty rose, dreamy pink, pillow talk-esque spring glam. Like, I needed some glam. I needed a little fun with the makeup, but I wanted to use these really pretty kind of soft, dusty rose shades with that bit of warmth in there, bit of pink. I was inspired basically by a color story that CoverGirl has called Dreamy Pink. And they have the little, clean color palette and lipstick and eyeshadow stick. And I just kind of went from there, pulling product that I thought fit that color story really well. And wanted to amp it up and make it something a little more on the glam side. So that's what we did today. And I have some product suggestions and recommendations and all the things. So if that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there is some particular looks or placement techniques you want to see demoed and a tutorial on, drop that in the comments. I love doing that kind of stuff. And I make a list of everything you guys suggest. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into the makeup look. All right, it is I, your ghostess with the mostest. And we are going to be doing what I like to call dreamy pink makeup. This has been the color story that I've gravitated towards for a couple of springs now, but really this spring, especially traveling. I did do a full video all about my travel makeup, which is, if it's not up yet, it will be soon. And it's using very similar color stories and a lot of product overlap. But before we jump in, yes, I'm exceptionally pale today and have already done all my complexion steps, and we are testing out a Rare Beauty and we're testing and reviewing the True to Myself foundation from Rare Beauty. So that's what's on the skin right now, and a little bit NYX Pro Fix stick and a little bit of L'Oreal Blurfection. Now the color Dreamy Pink is coming from, inspiration is coming from this palette from CoverGirl, this clean color palette called Dreamy Pink. Looks like this. So this was kind of the vibe. This and the lipstick in the same name. And they also have an eye crayon in the same name. This is, I guess, what they're kind of making their pillow talk. It's a beautiful color. Beautiful color. Love it for spring, especially with like olive green. Oh, I love it with olive green. I just didn't put on anything olive green today. I should have. Anywho, instead of using that CoverGirl palette though, I thought we could reach for the Bloom palette from Natasha Denona, because this is such a gorgeous, gorgeous spring palette. Spring, summer, even fall with this one. Look at these colors. Aren't they just beautiful? So I thought we could pull a little toasty rose inspiration from this palette and stick with that warm rose vibe, where it's not overtly pink, it's a warm rose. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So I've pulled a few products that I think really suit that vibe, and we'll talk all about them, and we're gonna kind of show them to you as we go through. But to bring a little life in the face, a little bit of bronze, a little warmth in, I'm ready to go with the CoverGirl True Blend Skin Enhancer in the shade Toasted Butterscotch. I'm gonna do this real lightly, just a nice dusting in all the bronzer areas with a really floppy brush. Nice, warm. Bring a little life back in. And you see I'm just doing a very light kind of graze. Just enough to bring a little structure back in, but not contour or anything like that. Just a little warmth. That's all. But it gives a little shape back to the face. I needed to do that. I was feeling very ghostly. So we're gonna start off with eyes. Eye crayons I've been having a moment with eye crayons recently. I love eye crayons. Especially these for that kind of rosy look. Rosé from Jane Iredale. And then this one from Bobbi Brown that is a dual-ended one, and it is in glazed pink and clove, which I think you can buy these individually, these two shades. Loving these, and especially this one because I can get like a little bit of contour with it also and have a bit of a liner. So we're going to be using this today because it's been a very much been a staple in my makeup routine recently, especially traveling and stuff. It's been a go-to. But Rosé is a beautiful, beautiful pinky shade, and CoverGirl does make their crayon, which are really nice. Their crayons. They have one in what's called Dreamy Pink, which is going to be that warm, pretty pink shade. So there are drugstore options, obviously. I just was like, do I need to get that? No. I have the eye crayons already. I don't need to go buy another one. But all the drugstore brands pretty much have something that looks like rosé. Now, what's kind of special though about glazed pink is that it has some sparkle in it. It has a little bit of a sequined effect. It's not just a metallic. And these are so incredibly long wearing. So we're going to use this kind of as our base and eyeliner today. So I'm going to start with a little bit of glazed pink, and I'm going to take that all over the lids. And that's going to be pretty much our primer. And you can see just alone how pretty it is. So it's a gorgeous warm pink with some sparkle in it. It's so pretty. And I'm just going to take my finger and blend that out. And this is something that can be very much a one and done, like I mentioned in my travel video. But today we're not doing one and done. We're going all out. But can you see how pretty that is? It gives just this nice little kind of sparkle, diffuse sparkle onto the lid. And I'm going to build up a little bit more. And continue to blend that out some. I'm taking it just up and out. Not concerned about getting in the crease. Don't care. Don't care. I think just having that wash of color on the lid, whether it's in the crease or not, looks really pretty. You don't have to put a matte in your crease. You don't have to stick to those rules. You can do what you want. And I think just a wash of a sheen is so very pretty on all ages. Even if you have some texture on your lid, it's fine. It's gonna look pretty. It's more about the application and having that kind of soft diffused effect. You want to just keep the layers light, more so than worrying about the texture of them. More so than worrying about the finish. You just want really nice, soft, light layers that aren't going to build up and get thick. That's what really makes texture apparent, is the thickness and how the product is applied. But if you do it just with a light application and just have this nice, pretty, shiny wash, it can look super chic. And now we're going to jump over to that Natasha Denona palette, the Bloom palette, and I'll show you what shades as we go. We're going to start with a fluffy brush in the transition crease area, upper crease. And I'm going to go with the shade called Petal to get things started, which is a soft pink right here. Soft kind of peachy pink. Glaze that right through here, light hand, gentle motions. I'm just gonna let that diffuse. And look, I mean, you could call it good there. You don't have to do much more. I just like to keep going because that's just me. Anyway, there we go. And I'm going to kind of start to add a little more depth in. We're gonna jump over to the shade called Robin right here. And I think I'm gonna swap over to a Sigma E23, I think is what that says, E25, and we'll focus into the crease a little bit more. And that is going to be with this shade right here, still blending into the transition, knocking off excess, being mindful of that so we prevent as much fallout as possible. And I'm going to take that right into the hollow of my eye. not where the skin folds over, but right into the hollow where the curvature of my eyeball itself. I'm disregarding the hood of my eye. Sorry, my stomach is growling. And I'm relaxing my eye while I do this so I can really get in there and see where the skin, everything's gonna fall, but getting right into that eye socket. All right. Next, I'm gonna go over to the shade called Floss, which is this one right here. And we're gonna take that a little bit deeper, further in. So I'm gonna start right out here on the outer corner with it. And tucking it right in there. And then diffusing my edges. But sticking to that kind of outer V and into the crease. Just blending it a little bit tighter. I think using eye crayons really is like underpainting, like you would do with your contour and blush and everything for the eyes. It's the underpainting of the eyes. So letting that be nice and diffused. And I'm going to jump over to a smaller brush. Something like this. This is a Morphe brush that is not made anymore. I don't believe it is. An M124, but it looks like this. Just something small that you can get in there with. It doesn't have to be this exact shape. Go back into Floss a little more and really make sure that is built up a bit more on the outer corner, because that will give a little lift, and applying a little more concentrated. Go back to my pencil real quick, and I am going to take some of the glazed pink side on the lower lash line. Should have done that earlier, but I forgot. Gonna treat that as a little bit of liner. And then I'm going to swap over to the clove side, which is a beautiful warm brown, and it pairs perfectly with the shade Bark that is in this palette. So what I'm going to do is take this, and I'm going to take it on an angled brush, and I'm just going to go straight like this. Take the brush onto the pencil, and pick up some product that way, or onto the crayon rather. And then we're going to come right at that lash line, and press that in and into the lashes, tight line area. And I'm going to come at right at the outer corner, eyes relaxed, and just pull out a little bit, just like that. You can do this with any brown liner, by the way. And this angled brush is from Walmart, a Walmart brand brush set. It is such a good shape. And being very intentional with my little wing placement, because my eyes are hooded and it will overlap on the outer corner. So relaxing the eye and just coming straight out works for me right now, and that I'm sure it's going to change in the future the older I get, and you just have to keep adapting your techniques as your face changes with age. I can't do all this the exact same way I did when I was 20, or even a couple of years ago, in fact. I used to not have a hood at all. Alright, now I'm just getting right into the lashes again. So I'm going to do it with the same brush. I'm just going to diffuse softly along the top of that liner before it sets. Just being real delicate, barely touching, and just kind of smoking it out very softly. I'm going to take that also on the inner part right in here. Because this pencil does sit down, I can get in there with it. And that just adds a little more, makes the eyes look a little longer, a little bigger. It's a very pretty effect. So I'm just taking it right into this inner part. Now this tickles. This is like, I hate doing this. If anything, kind of look away, look the other direction. And tuck it in there and just wiggle. And get it right in that inner tight line. And get to that lash line. Essentially tight lining. Okay, and then I'm also going to pull a little bit along the lower lash line on the outer corner. And joining up to that wing. Even come on the inner part here. Okay, and then we can go over to back to our palette, and I'm going to take the dark brown here called Bark. And we're just going to kind of set over where we applied that liner and diffuse it further. The same brush. Make sure you really tap off. Just press that over. And again, we're going to come along the lower lash line a little bit. On the outer corner. And then along the top of the lashes. And we're going to take some more of Robin, which is that transition shade we used, crease shade. I'm going to take it along under here. Just make sure everything's nice and diffused. Right, and then a little bit of floss, the mid-tone that we use. Just a tiny bit of that. Same brush, I'm just going to diffuse a little bit right here. And go back to my go back to my Sigma E23. Or E25 rather, and do a little diffusing. We can even go back to our first shade, Petal. Okay, now we're going to take a little bit of the shade called Fleur right here. And put that onto the kind of inner bit of the eye. Right about here. And just blend that up and out. And let that fuse in with the pencil, the crayon. And then we'll take some of the shade called Crisp, which is this beautiful, beautiful shade right here that's got a gold pink shift in there. And we'll bring that right in here. That just brightens everything up so nicely. and brings a lot of just oomph. And just diffusing that in. Okay, and then take a little bit more of floss just here, just to make sure we are having a nice little blend. Between all our colors. And there we go, that is the eyes done. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any fallout. Taking my concealer brush and just sharpening that little edge up just a bit. I have some blush suggestions that I think would be really pretty for this look. I have a bit of a thing for these warm rosy blush colors, so I have a few that I just wanted to mention real quick to kind of give you an idea. Dewy Worth It from L'Oreal has that really nice kind of warm rosy tone to it. From Wet n Wild, in their liquid blush, we have Dusty Romance. Dusty pink, that's pretty much what we're doing here. And if you want to add a little more of the pink in, a little less of the warmish side of things, this one's really pretty from L'Oreal. This is called Dewy Bright Pink, which obviously it's not bright pink. It is pretty subtle, and I think those are really, really nice liquid blush options that are all from the drugstore, especially the Wet n Wild ones, are very affordable. Laura Geller Serum Blush in Refreshing Rose is very, very pretty. I'm going to do a little swatch. You can see it has that nice warmth to it. Just a gorgeous shade. Oh, and also from Wet n Wild, one of their little pudding things. Were they called pudding? I think that's what they were. Or Mother Fluffer or something. I don't know. They're their new little things. And I'll screen what it's called. The shade Rose the Roof. Like, hello. That is the perfect color. And this is a really fun kind of putty texture. Look at that. I think we'll use a little bit of that today just for fun, because that is so pretty. And yeah, really nice option. And also a fun little kind of bronzer option is this from L'Oreal. This is a Lumi Bronze, and this is in the shade Sun-Kissed Rose. I just want to demo it a little bit, but it's technically a bronzer, but this one has a bit of a blushy quality to it, where their other ones are just true like bronzer shades. This one has some pink in it, and obviously it's meant to, because it's called Sun-Kissed Rose. But I think it's a very pretty product to mix in with this to add that little more warmth in. So let's take a little bit just on a brush. Gonna tap that somewhere in between, like where I'd put bronzer and where I'd put blush. It just adds a little something, and it's pretty. And you could use this on its own, like if you're somebody who's not a big blushy person and likes to maybe lean into the bronzer a little bit more to be your blush or kind of cheek color, this one is perfect for that. And probably the best pale girl fair skin bronzer on the market, because it's just, it gives warmth, but it gives a very sun-kissed pinky flush to the skin that's very natural looking. But isn't that pretty? Like, that kind of looks like our blush. But for funsies, I actually pulled away too many blushes, because I do also have a couple of powder blushes. So I gotta decide which blush to use here. We got the Wet n Wild one, but I also pulled from CoverGirl Rose Latte in their new Clean Color blush, and then one of their little cheekers in the shade Rose Silk. I think Rose Silk would really be the prettiest for today. Yeah, let's use a little Rose Silk. And this has a little bit of glow in it as well. A nice kind of pearl finish. You can see it pretty sheen that it has. So we don't even need highlighter. This is gonna take care of that. And it's a really subtle color, but so pretty. So pretty. If you want to be maybe a little more pop, you could take like something like the Wet n Wild one. And we'll just do just a kiss of this one. Just cause. I do like layering blushes. It's just fun to me. I love blush. So yeah, okay. That's a nice little combo. I'm going to throw on some mascara, touch up my brows, and we'll be back for lips. All right, let's finish up with some lips. Again, options. I have pulled options. The lip liners that they really kind of suit this look that I reach for the most often are Worth It Medium from L'Oreal. Talked about these in my travel makeup video. These are kind of staple products or lip shades that I use frequently, as well as from Milani in their Keep It Full range, Over the Top, and All About. These two, yeah. And for today, we're gonna do, let's do All Pout first and see how that looks. And if I want to deepen it up, we can take a little bit of Over the Top. This is truly like my lips but better type of color. And I have fairly pigmented lips as it is. They may look a little muted out right now because that's foundation on them. I'm going to take a little bit of the Over the Top shade and just kind of add a little extra definition. Like, I've been so minimal lately with a lot of my makeup that I'm just craving like sitting here and doing all the steps. For lipstick, I kept it a little more restrained. Didn't go quite as insane pulling shades out. Worth It, of course, from L'Oreal in any of the formats. There might be a little bit of shade variation within the formulas. Like this in particular, in the liquid lipstick, it's very warm and a little more rosy compared to the old school bullet lipstick. It's a little cooler, but both beautiful options. From Milani in the Fetish lipsticks, matte lipsticks, Color Statement Fetish matte lipsticks. The shade Secret, perfect shade, absolutely perfect shade for this. Also doubles really nicely as a blush. And of course, Dreamy Pink from CoverGirl. This is their clean color lipsticks. This shade is gorgeous. And Revlon has so many that you're just kind of spoiled for choice there. But Rose and Shine has been one that I've really liked for very subtle, kind of low-key lipstick. And then from Revolution Beauty, the shade called Wifey Dusty Pink has been really nice as well. I used this the other day in a new makeup video because new to me. But this color was kind of perfect because it's definitely a dusty, rosy pink and really just fits the color story perfectly. But, you know, I think we'll use good old Dreamy Pink today because that was kind of the inspiration for the whole video. This is what it looks like. It's a classic satin lipstick. Beautiful. Comfortable. Can also be worn as a blush. Okay, and here is our look all complete, doing something kind of dusty rose, dreamy pink, warm pink colors that I love them so much, especially for spring. I really want to do something a little more glam because I've been very, very minimal lately, and I needed some good glam and to sit down and do a nice makeup look and just enjoy it. But yeah, let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns, whatever. Drop that down below and I will get back to you. And yeah, everything we talked about today will be listed and linked in the description box and the YouTube shop tab. And yeah, okay, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and may the peace of the Lord be with you always. Bye now.